and welcome to another episode of Keep It Moving Podcast. I am your host, Novelty, and joining me as always is the beautiful Mike B.
No. Didn't we have a conversation about this?
The ladies backed me up.
And say what?
They said beautiful is a good thing, and you are a beautiful person.
This is probably going to be my last time on this show.
Whatever.
What's going on, Novelty?
Not much. What's going on with you?
Same old. I'm very, very tired today. And I just can't get my energy up. So it'll be interesting how this episode goes. But I'm going to give it my all. You said, do I need some what? Ginseng.
I think that's good for energy.
I think I used to take ginseng pills, but I don't even remember what they used to do for me. So,
you know what else they say is good for energy?
What?
Exercise. I don't believe them, but they say it's good for energy.
I can see that.
I exercise. I
guarantee
want to go to sleep.
I'm not about to exercise right now. So we're gonna have to try something else.
Okay, just throwing it out there.
Right on.
So, how was your week?
My week was good, regular. I took half of the week off just to relax. That's probably why I'm tired. I've had so much time off.
And then you said you slept in today.
Yeah, today I didn't go to bed till after 7 up talking to my brother. But I slept until 4:30.
You and your brother have that good conversations that y'all up till 7 in the morning?
Well, we had some things we needed to talk about. So, when the conversation happens, sometimes you got to just let it happen. I guess when the conversation happens,
but at about 4 or 5 a.m., if my sister talking, guaranteed I'm asleep. She might think I'm up, but I'm asleep.
I think it depends on what you're talking about. If you guys are having a serious conversation, you ain't going to go to sleep on her.
Even with a serious conversation, she go to sleep before me, so she be talking in her sleep.
Oh, this don't sound like the conversation even needed to happen.
No, it don't.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, they say when you sleep too much, then it makes you tired as well.
I'm very, very lethargic right now.
Oh, well, too bad. Wake up.
Right on.
I had a normal week, nothing special, just week.
No visits from the witnesses this time. This week.
No, not this week.
Right.
Maybe they saw my sign and figured they might not come back.
Oh, you got a picture of your gun on the door or something now?
Maybe that's what I need. No, to put
that
on
is
my door.
Absolutely not what you need.
A sign that says "We'll shoot solicitors."
No, that's horrible.
Okay. No trespassing. I like that. Like there's this one sign that says "We shoot, then call the police." I need that sign on my door.
No, that one's. I think that's a good one.
I need that sign on my door.
Anyway,
I'm just saying, you bust up in my house, you gonna get shot.
Well, if they bust up, yeah, they're asking to get shot.
Hey,
but usually people who are just trying to provide you with some information don't normally bust up in the door.
Well, no, I mean, as long as they read the sign and leave. I just want them to leave.
And not knock.
Don't disturb my peace.
Okay.
Don't knock. Don't disturb my peace.
I can respect that.
If you don't know me, you don't belong at my door. Unless, it's an emergency and my house is on fire or something, you want to make sure I'm out of there.
Or they've had an emergency and they want to use your facilities or your phone to call someone.
Okay, now, if you have an emergency and you need to tankle or poop-a-doop, you can go.
I will just go in your backyard.
There you go. Don't knock on my door to come use my bathroom because I don't know you and I don't want your butt on my toilet.
But how would you feel just seeing a strange person shitting outside your back door?
You would be recorded and I will send it to the police. I'm letting you know.
Now they're going to get in trouble. They was having an emergency.
If
you ain't no help.
Less than 2 minutes from 12 gas stations. Come on.
Well, some people don't trust gas stations.
Well, they don't trust my backyard for your toilet. That's all I'm saying. So, if you having an emergency and somebody chasing you, please don't bring that to my house. I mean,
you don't want to be involved.
I'll call the police. But I'm not letting you in my house, and I'm not letting them in my house either.
If somebody's trying to murder them, you won't let them in your house. You got a gun.
I will call. I don't know who you are. I don't know if you're trying to. You could be throwing out some craziness and. Some ploy to get me to open my door. I'm not opening my door.
So you think it might be a setup?
I didn't watch too much Criminal Minds. I'm not opening my door.
Well, you probably shouldn't. You're a young woman, live by yourself.
I got a gun.
You got a guard dog.
You're right. I got a gun, a guard dog. I shoot and I call the police and I got 12 phones. And yes, I still have a landline.
You about the only one I know with a landline.
I got one. You never know. Somebody might have one of them little those radio things
The
that
block
shut
your
the
cell
block the
signal?
cell signal.
Uh-huh.
You ain't blocking mine. I still got old fashioned AT&T. You got to dig it out the ground.
You proud of it too, ain't you?
I am. I'm proud of that landline I pay for.
It probably got the rotary dial on it too.
No, it
Old
doesn't.
school.
I was looking for one of those though. I wouldn't mind having one of those.
For what?
That's like a collector's item now.
Yeah, that's the beginning of hoarding as well. It's like a collector's item. That's a trash.
Anyway, so let's talk about what has gone on in the world this week. But before we do that, you got a bay for me?
Black achievements and excellence. This week we're going to give to high school student Jameer Smith, who had a high school GPA of 4.43. What was your GPA?
It won 4.43.
4.43, which means like it sounds like he took it maybe college credit or some advanced placement classes.
My GPA was like 3.7.
Yeah, talking to Mike.
I'm sorry, but my GPA is like 3.7.
You
Not that high.
You were still smart.
Oh, thank you.
Word. Did I say word? My bad.
word.
Well, I'm saying when you were in school.
I'm still in school.
Anyway, 4.43 GPA. He had an impressive ACT score, but also he received, he got accepted to 8 Ivy League schools and received 33 full ride scholarship offers. Can you imagine 33 being able to go wherever you want to go for the most part?
Wow.
That's I got one, I think, full ride scholarship offer. And everybody else wanted to just give me a little bit of money and then wanted me to get some loans and all of this crap. Ain't nobody got time for that. Well, I guess I did have time because I did it.
You did it.
But life would have been so much easier if I got full ride scholarships. I would have, and I had options.
Not school life would
Yeah.
be easy. Because I look back at that now. I just paid $60,000 for a piece of paper. That's a lot of money.
But also, it's the experience, though. You know,
Experience my butt. I just paid $60,000 for a freaking piece of paper.
it says something about you. It's a positive thing.
Positive my ass.
Hey, I'm trying here.
You give me $60,000, then we can throw all that beautiful spin on it. But until that $60,000 is paid off, that's all I see is that price tag for a piece of paper that they don't give you immediately.
Yeah,
you
they
gotta
mail it to
wait
you.
for like a month.
I've seen some of some high schools or some colleges actually give you the document during graduation.
They need to put the document in your hand as soon as you write the check.
Even though you didn't pass the classes.
You wrote the check. That's what it's about. It's about the check.
So you paid for it, so you better give me something. Can you imagine all the people that go to school and take classes and don't actually finish?
Well, and I got this last class, and my mom called me and she said, "So how's it going? How's the class going?" I told her, "This is the hardest class I didn't ever had to take. I am not motivated at all.
Yeah, because you've already
to
walked.
do this, right?" I'm like, I just don't want to do this. And she says, "Well, just hang in there. It's almost over." She's like, "You just got to finish." I'm like, "You dang go, Skippy, I got to finish. I done paid $60,000.
I feel like that price tag is bothering you.
Yes, it is. The price tag is just like.
But you got
are you
30
kidding
years
me?
to pay it off?
Is it 30 years in my life?
That's how you have to look at it. I got 30 years though, so don't worry about it.
I wish I could have went to school in somebody else's name.
In somebody else's name.
Yeah, not a real person, just a fake name, and let that fake person pay it off.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
But then that fake person's name would be on your certificate.
That's the problem.
Yeah. So don't wish that.
I mean, it's gotta be a better way. Bernie Sanders says there's a better way. Let's look into his way. Although I'm not gonna get anything out of his way. I done already paid my $60,000.
Maybe you can get some student loan forgiveness or something, like some type of benefit.
Oh, hey, student loan forgiveness, $60,000.
You see,
there you go.
More and more colleges, or not more and more, but we're hearing about other colleges offering like free tuition. Like if you make under a certain amount of money or something like that, which is encouraging in my opinion, to get people to go to school.
Yeah, I have seen some changes, and some states are offering free college for their residents. So right. I think it's a good thing.
That is a good thing. But before we go too far left, let's bring it back to Jameer Smith, 17-year-old, North Carolina. Shout out to you. Woo! He is our Black Achievement and Excellent honoree for this particular episode.
Congratulations. All right, and let's run down this lovely week we've had. Although we haven't done anything, the world has done a lot. People are upset because Shakespeare in the Park portrayed Trump as Julius Caesar. But they didn't say nothing when they did it in Obama. They portrayed Obama as Julius Caesar a few years ago.
So is that why people were like trying to protest?
Yes.
Okay. Is it that serious?
Evidently for them, it wasn't that as serious when it was Obama, but it is for Trump.
Okay.
Who'd have thought? Sessions testified before Congress.
He did. Did you watch any of it? Any of his?
I look at him and I think. I can't help but think of the old white master. I just can't. And I don't know if it's just his southern accent and this little bitty man. He just reminds me of a old master with a whole bunch of slaves. And it just pisses me off. So I tried, and then he got to talking, and I was like, I can't do you. And I turned off the TV.
It was almost like, why are you even here? And that's, a lot of times when we see these congressional hearings where they're, I guess, subpoena somebody or have somebody come and speak before them, it's almost like, what? You're not answering any questions. You're not really helping with this investigation. So why are you here? What's the big deal? And it seemed like his testimony was basically to
clear his name.
Well, he didn't really clear his name, in my opinion. He was just he couldn't say anything because he thought that, or he kept mentioning that the president might invoke, I guess, executive privilege or something based on their conversation.
And that was a lot of them. I mean, not just him, but even the testimony of all the operatives, the CIA, and all the lead operatives that work under Trump. They all would not say anything. I can't testify about that in an open session. And the senators were asking, why not? It's not classified information. The president hasn't invoked executive privilege. Why not?
Yeah.
And there was no answer.
That would piss me off. See, that's why I couldn't be one of the people asking the questions, because I would cuss their asses out.
Well, and that brings me to Kamala Harris.
That ain't her
Kamala
name.
Harris. We gonna get this right. That brings me to Kamala Harris. Her thing was, okay, look, we tired of hearing you sit here and say, I'm not talking about it because the president might want executive privilege. We want you to answer the questions. And the Speaker of the House shuts her down yet again.
Yeah, she got shut down. And what was the other test? Was it Comey?
It seems like every time she opens her mouth, they try to shut her down.
Why do you think they're afraid of letting this black woman speak?
Because they think they try to shut all black women down. We got that title, mean black woman, and they always think. One guy said she was hysterical. Like, she was not hysterical. She was having a conversation.
She was asking questions, and these should be
the
questions that you.
I can show you hysterical.
I would say this is when we need to be doing video so people can see why I'm afraid right now.
Well, he wanted to see hysterical.
Yeah, it's stupid. They're all idiots, and it angers me. Let's moving on.
Wonder Woman broke box office records, and they did a bunch of screenings, women's only screenings across the country.
What do you think that was about?
It was uplifting for women. I mean, it's crazy that Wonder Woman for the very first time is being shown on the big screen. Wonder Woman she came out in the 60s, 50s, or 60s, and her story is just now being told. We've seen 20 million Batmans, 20 million Supermans, and even Green Hornet and Green Lantern movies.
Is Green Hornet a thing, or did you just make that up?
No, Green Hornet and Green Lantern movies. For some reason,
yeah.
I have both of those movies.
Oh,
I've never seen them. I don't know why I have them.
How do you have them?
They're on my computer. I'm like,
this sounds a little suspect.
So anyway, no, I haven't seen them. I haven't watched them. And I mean, maybe because it was a comic book movie, I thought, okay, I'll watch it, and just have never gotten around to it. But yeah.
Do you plan to see Wonder Woman?
Everybody, I've seen it. It was great.
Everybody
really liked it.
has said it's a really good movie.
I think they did a really good job.
Did you see?
A few times I even got choked up. Not because of the movie itself, but just because of what it represents. Oh,
I'm like, because this movie is just so good, and you just start
what
crying.
It represents.
Okay, was it like women empowerment? Mm-hmm. Is that how you? Okay, right on. Did you get a chance to see the Black Panther trailer that's coming out?
No.
Everybody's been talking about that as well. I don't know why I haven't been able to see it. But I'm hearing that it's a lot of
across my Facebook page, but I didn't
click on it.
I don't think I had a chance to, and I flagged it to look at later.
Okay.
What I did notice is his suit didn't look all that good.
Whose suit? Black Panther?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you noticed?
That's what I noticed.
From what, the poster?
From the still shot I saw. I was like, ooh, his suit don't look all that. It just, it ain't nothing special about it.
I mean,
okay, but I'll watch it later.
Is his suit his power?
I don't know.
Lord have mercy. You wild. But I want to watch it so we can talk about it a little bit on the next episode.
Okay, cool. Okay, so also Trump reverses some Obamacare policy or some Obama policies on Cuba. Obamacare stuck in my head, sorry. Michelle Carter is convicted of involuntary manslaughter for convincing her boyfriend to commit suicide. Trump finds out.
Do you remember that story?
It just went off this morning.
What just went off?
The Michelle Carter.
No, the verdict, she was just like found guilty. What I'm saying, do you remember us talking about her?
No, did we talk about her?
I feel like we did. This is the girl who tried to convince her boyfriend or whoever to commit suicide, giving him ways to do it.
Yeah.
You don't think we talked about this?
I mean, we may have, and I just don't remember it.
Are you feeling some type of way at all the cologne my brother just sprayed?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You have got to learn that less is more.
Anyway, can we get back to the show?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. We may have talked about it. I'm not saying we didn't. I just don't remember. I know now, I can tell you now, she's been convicted of involuntary manslaughter and don't know how many. She could get up to 10 years.
She deserves to get up to 10 years. And it seemed like she had an issue with her boyfriend. Like, I can understand if you have somebody that that's a friend of yours and they are depressed or they're going through, the one thing you don't do is research ways for them to get rid of themselves, to kill themselves.
I think her defense was that she also had issues, but the evidence all pointed to her helping him out.
Yeah,
which was
because they had
wrong.
the text messages.
Yeah, I mean, they got all kind of messages, not just text messages. The evidence was really bad for her. It all showed that she was helping him do it. Her defense was that she was a little off her kilter, and she wanted to commit suicide herself. And but she got 10 years. Or she can get up to 10 years. That's all I know. It's kind of interesting that she was underage when she did this, and now there's the trial, and I think they're still trying her as a child.
She's over 18 now?
Yeah, she's over 18 now.
I mean, that's not surprising. That's not surprising.
I mean, yeah, because she was a child when she did it, but.
And then I think it depends on like what it is where they try to. And especially if you're black, then they're definitely going to try.
Oh, yeah. If she was black, it would have been a whole other story. And she'd have been tried as an adult. She'd have been under the jail, around the jail, and across from the jail.
Right.
And so also Trump found out that he was under investigation on his birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. President.
What's weird about, not really weird, but the first thing when it came out, I think it was the Washington Post or the Washington Journal, one of those. It was Washington something. And it was like a source is saying that Trump is under investigation for obstruction of justice. And I was like, how did that information leak? I was actually concerned about leaks. And even though that's the information I want to hear. But I don't know why, when I heard that was my first thought.
Honestly, I think there are so many people that did not want him to be president. He received the presidency only through the electoral vote, and unfortunately 60% of the country did not, out of the people that voted, 60% of the country did not want him to be president. Now that doesn't even count the people that did not vote.
Right.
So I think it's so many people that don't want him to be in place that they just telling. They telling anything they can, leaking any information they can, because they feel like, the other thing is they feel like he's doing harm.
Yes. And I think if he got into the presidency and started to actually do things to benefit the majority of Americans versus his billionaire friends.
If he did anything to benefit the country,
then people would be, what? More people would be saying, instead of Republicans and extreme right-wing people, we saying, maybe he'll be all right. Let's give him a chance. Let's see what he does. He's been
Democrats
destructive.
weren't for Bush either. And I mean, Bush did some destructive things himself. Reagan's trickle down economics was always a problem, but at least we knew that they were not going to destroy the country.
Right.
They were going to make it difficult for a lot of people, but they weren't going to destroy the country. I think at this point, people are concerned about the country. And
what's weird though is that Republicans don't seem to be concerned. Some,
they concerned about their
some
pocket.
this week have been, more concerned about what he's actually doing, this divisiveness and his strategy. And, they're kind of speaking out little by little against it. But ultimately, they're still, this is our boy. We got his back. We're going to try and protect him. And it doesn't make any sense to not see the direction that we're going in. This is not a positive thing.
Yeah, it's too much. So I think that's why they leaking. I think they feel like this is too much. This is not right. So let's leak what we can. I think he just has more. He has more enemies than friends, and even the people that are his friends become his enemies. I mean, even his friend was the one that came out and said that he was thinking about firing Mueller. His friend pops out and says this, and it's like, dude.
Oh yeah.
I thought you was his friend.
Not the special prosecutor, but the guys over the special counsel.
Right. I'm like, how are you getting ready to sit up and tell on your boy like that?
Right.
So it's like even his own people are doing some crazy.
But when his people leak something, then it's like, what's the motivation behind? What's the agenda? Because a lot of times it seems like he may be a part of it. Trump may be a part of it.
And maybe he was.
And then you hear about Trump's lawyer getting a lawyer. There's what the hell is going on?
Need for the lawyer.
And then I heard Mike Pence. He
Mike
lawyered
Pence
up.
done lawyered up. Yeah.
If everybody in your administration is lawyering up,
it's a problem.
There's a problem.
It's a problem.
And it's not a new problem. This is a problem that the media has been pointing out. But I guess now that the special counsel is involved, then people are taking it seriously. But Republicans are still finding a way to push it and call it a witch hunt, call it fake news.
You call it what you want, but DC and Maryland have come together and now they filed a lawsuit. Trump said he liked to go to court. He wanted to sue.
He wants to sue
everybody. They
everybody.
filed a lawsuit against him over monies earned while he's been president.
Right.
So and what, over 200 Congress people have joined into that lawsuit now?
Yeah, Democratic Congress people. Yeah.
I'm sure.
Of course, the Republicans won't put
if
country
there
before
was a
party.
way for me to join in, I'd join in too.
And it's all based on, like you said, him benefiting from the presidency, receiving foreign, gifts from foreign countries and stuff like that. And I think the clause that they kept mentioning during this, they did a press conference, and it was the emoluments clause.
The emoluments clause.
And it's basically him, this guy, sitting in the presidency, it's almost like he's taking bribes. Like,
it ain't even like he's taking bribes. I don't even think he's taking bribes. I think basically he's sitting up saying, I'm going to still spend the next 4 years on BS, and all I'm going to do is work my businesses. Yeah, I'm here in this seat. I can be nice to you for 4 years, because he can't really promise too much. He can only promise the next 4 years.
He can promise too much. Did you see him on the campaign trail? All of these promises.
Okay,
that's what he does.
Okay,
he's that
he can
type
promise,
of person.
but he can't follow through. Put it that way.
He shouldn't be able to get away with a lot of the things. But I can guarantee you that he's willing and dealing that presidency.
He can promise, but he can't get away with too much, because he only.
And I can't even say he can't get away with too much, because if left up to Congress and the Republicans, then he'll get away with all of it, because they're willing and dealing themselves.
Okay, good point.
And it's I can't
take that away.
You said on a couple shows ago that if not for the executive branch stepping in and holding him accountable,
we would be in trouble.
Exactly, it's ridiculous.
So. Well, moving on, the judge ruled a mistrial in the Bill Cosby case.
Right.
And prosecutors say they going to take it back to court.
I read that he was saying he wants to get back to his comedy.
Yeah.
And
he's been trying to get back to work.
I can't see that.
Well, he came out of the courtroom one day and screamed, hey. Where did that come from?
I can't see. I mean, there may be some people that would actually support him. I don't like it.
I think, there are people that would support him. Maybe not the same number of people, but yeah, there are people who will support him. I don't know. For me, I don't know how I feel about the case. I notice I feel some kind of way sometimes because I get agitated at her, and then I have to stop myself and think,
When you say her,
what if the woman who is saying that he did this to her, this particular woman, not the 50 before her. So I get kind of agitated, and then I think, wait a minute now, are you going to be supportive of the, it's hard being in the position of a woman, because every argument she gave as to why she didn't come forward is a true argument. Mm-hmm. Every argument
is it
that
just
was
a woman
given,
or just a victim?
Right. It's a true argument for the victim of this crime, which is normally a woman.
Okay.
I can't really, it's nothing they, at one point they said, well, why does her story keep changing up? Well, because she didn't want to remember it for all these years. She's tried to forget it, which is a true fact. So, it's really hard to be 100% against her, but because of everything that I've watched with him growing up with the Cosby Show, it's hard to be against him too. So it's hard for me to choose a side. Some people have chosen a side, but it's really hard for me to choose a side because I don't want him to be guilty, but I mean, if this happened to her, she deserves justice. If it happened to any of those 50 women, they deserve justice. So
I agree.
It's just a difficult situation for me. And then lastly, June 14th was maybe a good day for the NRA. 3 shootings happened across the country. A man shot a gentleman outside of the Barclays Center after they had an argument. A guy working for UPS in San Francisco went to work, got pissed off, and started shooting everybody. And then, of course, there was the shooting at the congressional baseball practice.
Right.
What the hell?
And still nobody's, I guess, the Republicans or the right wing, they're not, or conservatives, I'll say conservatives, are not wanting to have the conversation about the Second Amendment. And
no. The Republicans said, if everybody had guns on the field, we would have been okay. But the fact that you were playing baseball, you wouldn't have been wearing your gun. So how could you have been okay? And if you're going to play baseball wearing a gun, somebody going to get shot.
When I heard about it, my first thought was, what did they expect? What did, we got these Congress people making decisions that are affecting people's lives. And this is not to say that this is what they deserve. That's not what I'm saying at all. But you're not giving a damn about the life of just Sally Joe or whoever, just normal people. And you're doing whatever and voting, whichever is going to benefit you personally. And you don't think people are going to be affected by it? They keep talking about Trump care and how it's going to knock all these millions of people off, and people won't be able to afford it. And people are all, coming and telling you, hey, I need, the Affordable Care Act. Like, it saved my life, and you don't give a shit about it. At some point, people are not going to give a shit about you because you don't give a shit about them. You're trying to kill me, or you don't care if I die. Then why should I care anything about you? And like I said, even though it shouldn't have happened, I'm hoping it could have been a wake up call to, the Republicans.
It should have been.
It should have been a wake up call. And it could have been because, you go return to session and you start to look at this thing and try to look out for your people and not just for yourself, because people are crying out and expecting you to put them over your party. And that's not what you're doing. And then they found that somehow they try to spin and say it's the media or the leftists or liberals that
are the left not been doing what they did
and spewing all this divisiveness. And it's like, are you kidding me?
Who's spewing the divisiveness? The man
at the top, 45.
He's been spinning divisiveness since he stepped out of his freaking Trump Tower 8 years ago. He started this mess. It needs to finish with him out of office. That's all it is to it.
Right.
But it's not just that. Here's my thing. And first, I do want to say my heart, my prayers go out to the victims of all of those shootings.
Right.
All of those shootings, because they never should have happened. I am a proud gun owner. I'm very happy to have my gun. I feel safer with my gun. Other people don't, but I do.
People that know you don't feel safe with you having a gun.
Hey, I feel good.
Right on.
I am not against the Second Amendment by any means. I believe you have the right to bear arms, period. However, I do believe that we have got to be responsible, because when you become a gun owner, that is a very responsible job. Just like a parent has a very responsible job. You are responsible for another life. I am responsible for the lives in front of my trigger. When I have that gun in my hand,
right.
I am responsible for those lives. We have got to be a responsible society, and we've got to put in some regulations on having guns. If you are mentally disabled and it is found that you flip off at the dime and you cannot control your emotions, you probably don't need access to a gun.
Right.
And we need to make sure that doesn't happen. If you're known to be on America's Most Wanted or some violent law or some violent list or felony list or
a
not
fugitive
even felony,
or whatever,
but just if you're known for being a person who commits acts of violence, you don't need to have a gun.
Right.
You know, we've got to put some laws in place, and the majority of Americans believe that, but it's just that handful of lobbyists and the NRA, which not the NRA, the big leaders of the NRA want to control, because I don't want you controlling my gun. We don't care about healthy citizens having a gun. It's the crazy people I don't want to have a gun.
Right.
Okay. So, I mean, a lot of these could have been avoided, but the other thing is simply America has one humongous problem. We do not take a good look at our history and learn from it. Okay, years ago, when the saying "going postal" came out, it was because of employees who had a bad day at work, bad experiences with their jobs and with their managers, who were treated badly, would come in and they would shoot up people, just random people. And that's where the saying "going postal" came from, because they just lose it one day, come in, shoot up everybody. Mm-hmm. All the black people running, all the white people wondering what's going on, everybody gets shot.
Right.
You know, how is this happening in this day and age? How does this UPS guy go in? Because we haven't learned. You have to respect adults. These are adults. I don't care how much money you paying this person to work for you. You don't own them. You don't control them. These are adults.
Yes.
You have got to treat them with respect.
And you can't talk to. I've been saying this for years. You cannot talk to people
any kind of way. You can't.
And like when I see these videos of all these, Trump supporters or whatever going off and go back to Africa
and then wonder why they got hit.
Speak English. Well, a lot of times they're not being hit. People are just recording. And I'm wondering, how long do you expect to be able to say what you want any kind of way to anybody and nothing happens? And when you do get hit, you're acting like the victim. When you dispute all that hatred and I don't want it to be me.
We don't learn from our history. And not only that, we tend to cover up our history in this country. We tend to like to pretend that things didn't happen. Columbus, that made Columbus out to be this great guy, when in actuality he was a mass murderer and a killer.
Right.
He came in and took out an entire nation of people, damn near. And it's okay. And now over the centuries, people believe, well, he didn't do anything wrong. Yes, he did. Okay, we trying to turn slavery into black people immigrating for better jobs. Are you freaking kidding me? We do not pay attention to our history. We don't learn from it. We cover it up. And when you cover up your history, you're doomed to repeat it. And that's all that's going on. This congressional baseball game, this man shot because these were Republicans.
Right.
He was specifically
they said he asked, like, is this Democrats or Republicans?
They said Republicans. He went and got his gun
and started shooting.
And this isn't a man who has a problem with a race. This is a man who has a problem with a whole group of people who are looking down at other people, and not just looking down at poor people. They looking down at black people, brown people, Mexican people, just
anybody that's not white.
This country is supposed to be freedom of religion, and all races are supposed to be equal. And in this country, that is the biggest lie, and we will not learn from it.
And one thing, they were quick to try to attribute this guy to Bernie Sanders.
Right.
Which, I think he worked on Bernie Sanders' campaign or something like that. Bernie came and he basically denounced the act. It's like, this should never happen. And like he acted presidential, in my opinion. When something like that is tied to you, or anybody can be tied to you, and they do something like this, you have to come out and say, what, I don't condone this. I don't believe in what he did. It was wrong. Forget that. But how many times have you seen 45 get up there, all these people committing these acts of violence on behalf of him, and he's like, he just lets it happen.
Even that speech he gave after the congressional shooting, it didn't seem like it came from the heart. It just seemed like he was reading somebody else's words, and that was it. It didn't seem.
But
real.
we can't expect him to speak from the heart.
You're right, because he
keep
has
it,
not
to
won.
keep it real. You can't expect anything like that from that guy.
Anyway, it's really been a bad week for a lot of families, and my prayers are with them all.
And like you were mentioning, people have to. If you get a weapon, you have to be responsible. But then that goes back to my whole issue with police. And when you are trying to be responsible and you are trying to comply, and they still shoot you or they still kill you, and that brings us into the whole Fernando Castile situation that happened, where he told the guy,
acquitted.
I got a concealed and carry license, and the guy got the police officer got scared for whatever reason and just started shooting, and we found out today, or what was it, 2 days ago, that the officer was acquitted of all charges, and it's becoming so common for this to happen.
Here's the interesting thing. They fired him. Now, police department fired him. I don't know if they fired him because of optics or if because somebody realized, regardless of anything, we can't control what happens in that jury, but you don't belong on this force. So that is a positive thing that he's no longer working there. I don't know when he got fired. If it wasn't immediately, then this is more of an optics thing. But at what point do we progress in this country? Valerie Castile, Philando's mother, said it best when she said, we are regressing.
Yeah, we're devolving.
We're devolving as a nation. What the fight we're having right now is the exact same fight we were having in the 50s and 60s. This is part of what Martin Luther King marched against.
Right. And we're still not making progress.
When you look at the video of the boycotts and the marches, it's the exact same thing. And it's like you can see the same actions from the police, the exact same actions from the police back then as you do now. The exact same actions from the protesters that you see now. I mean, it's crazy to me that I can look at two pictures side by side, and if you made them both black and white, I wouldn't know which generation was which.
Right.
It is sad. It is very sad that we have not moved forward as a country.
I agree, and it's angering that we still have to deal with this same bullshit simply because of the color of our skin. We're an automatic threat.
The most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
And it's justified. They justify it somehow.
Moving on, undercover government, as far as in things passed, not much has really passed. We've elected, they elected some members for some committees. They did pass the Verify First Act, which allows the government to get verification of citizenship before you're allowed any access to government monies like welfare, Section 8 housing, things like that.
Okay.
If it wasn't already a law, then I don't have a problem with it. The only thing that if we do allow someone into this country to start to apply for citizenship, they should have some kind of like green card or something that allows them to get some kind of temporary something. So I mean, I don't mind that at all. But the thing I've noticed most.
What? I thought you were about to go into your issue with them having Congress.
Well, that I am.
Congratulate the.
I am. Well, it's not just that. I understand elected members to certain governments. To certain places. I understand renaming federal buildings. I understand you might have to have a vote on something like that. But what I got a problem with is a resolution congratulating the Golden State Warriors for their historic championship victory. You know what? You can't have a secretary do that.
And just
do it.
You don't think it takes a vote?
No, it don't take a vote. It don't take your time. I don't have health care. I don't have my house. My taxes are too high. I can't afford my house. my kids have graduated from college. They owe $60,000 in student loans and can't find a job that's pays better than minimum wage. People don't have food. People don't have clothes. Flint don't have water. And you sitting here and spending time congratulating a basketball team
or voting on congratulating them. I think if it's going to come from the government, like as a whole, then we need to make sure everybody's on board with doing it.
Then don't come from the government. Then the government don't need to be involved in that. That is,
it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Either let your secretary do it, and you know what you can have. They all got secretaries. They all got assistants. When they go in and they have their little Congress meetings where they vote, they secretaries should have meetings where they vote, and let the secretaries meetings vote on stupid stuff like that.
It seems ridiculous.
I need my government to worry about my people and not about the basketball team and the baseball team and the football team. Too much.
Ran over.
Like,
but I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense to feel like you feel about them taking time out to vote on something that seems so minuscule when we got all this other stuff going on.
Life is happening. They gonna play again next year. And next year, if they lose, they no longer going to be number one. I mean, the Royals won. Woohoo! We was happy. We had a parade. Yep, the mayor came down to the parade and all that good stuff. And then he went back to his office and he did some work. He didn't vote on nothing.
You don't know.
Congress didn't go and say, let's make this National Royals Week.
You don't know. You wasn't watching Undercover Government back then.
If that happened, somebody slid a little note on his desk. He signed it and they moved on.
He didn't even know what was going on.
Good God Almighty. Dakota Access Pipeline. So, Trump, as soon as he got in office, turned everything around and said, yep, go ahead and
drill
do what
again.
you're doing.
Yeah, keep going.
Well, this is what I love about Native Americans. The Sioux Rock tribe went straight back to court. And right now, a judge is saying, if they have a victory, a judge is saying what Trump did was, illegal. There are too many things that Trump did not take a look at before he just
signed his
executive order to do this. So they're not stopping them from drilling just yet. They are asking for more paperwork, but right now the judge is on the tribe's side and saying, this ain't gonna fly. Which is good.
Right.
And the judge, the judge is really saying, nobody's really taking into account what happens if there's an oil spill. This is drinking water.
No, they don't care.
Right.
All they want to do is drill, get that money, make that money. Mm-hmm. They don't give a damn about the tribe that's there. They don't give a care about anybody's water being affected. Look what happened in Flint. They don't give a damn about what's happening. And then I think regarding the whole Flint situation, 5 people had been
they went to jail.
Or they were sentenced or something like that, or found guilty.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a victory for Flint.
Yeah, that's definitely a victory for Flint.
But this is stuff you would think all these T's have to be crossed, I's have to be dotted before you put people's lives in jeopardy, especially after we've seen instance after instance of oil spills. And then we don't want to talk about the one that happened in the Gulf ago. The BP
oil spill. Oh my God, that is. I mean,
losing like million gallons of water a day.
It is still affecting that area to this day, and that was almost 10 years ago now.
And that's ridiculous. But
hey,
gotta
who cares?
Gotta make that money,
right? So just know this. The reason I wanted to bring this one up though is because what Native Americans do is they go to court. They fight within the system and they win. That's how they got their reparations. Black folks screaming, we need reparations. Get your butt a law degree and let's go to court. For those of you who have a law degree, start working within your neighborhoods. Not neighborhoods now because you probably living with the upper echelon. Start working within the neighborhood you grew up with. Mm-hmm. Helping these black brothers and sisters that are going to jail for stuff they should not be going to jail for, all because all they have is the public defender who's overworked, underpaid, and just got out of school himself.
And don't really have time.
Got to pay student loans back.
If you mention student loans one more time. But I understand.
About that, huh?
I understand.
So, I mean, we got to do something better. And this is what the Jewish community did. This is what the Native American community did. we need to come together and start working together so we can get out of this. You know, these things that happen with Fernando Castile. God, it's happened to so many. Trayvon Martin,
Tamir Rice, Bland.
All of these people that we know were victims, were murdered by police officers. At this point, we should have a set of lawyers who are saying, we're done with this. We're getting ready to start going to court. We're getting ready to start suing these police officers for every penny they got. If we can't beat you in this court of law, we're going to beat you in a different court. But we have got to do that, and we're not doing that because, unfortunately, I'm sure Fernando Castile's mother can't afford to go to court and can't afford to take the city or anybody else to court and spend that kind of money just to make her point. Just to get some type of justice for her child, you know. We've got to find a way to start working together so these mothers can get justice for their children, because we're not getting justice through any criminal court. We need to start taking these to different types of court. Look at what they did to OJ. They didn't get justice through the criminal court, so they took him to jail and they sued him for every penny he got, and he been screwed up ever since. So whether he murdered her or not is beside the point.
He's still being punished.
Right. You know.
I'm waiting on the day George Zimmerman takes his ass to jail. Oh. I'm so glad we haven't heard his name. I'm so glad we haven't heard his name.
Steve Harvey.
Oh, the whole Flint.
Done lost his mind out here.
Steve Harvey has been, it seemed like, in the news more recently. For some reason, I feel like it started with that whole Trump visit. And that's when he's been in the news regularly since then. Yes. And even after that, you know, black people were like, why in the hell are you going to go and have a sit down, a seat at the table with this asshole?
He's in the news. He pissed people off, and so now they keeping him in the news.
Well, he keeps doing dumb shit. Well, and I think a gentleman called in on his radio show, and I guess the guy was saying he was from Flint town or from Flint, Michigan. And he was saying how the Cleveland Cavaliers, because they lost the championship to Golden State, and he was saying how the Cleveland Cavaliers don't deserve anything. And evidently, Steve Harvey is from Cleveland. He felt some type of way. He took offense to that. And so he started taking jabs at this guy. Not really at this guy. He was talking about Flint. He was, let me pull up what he was saying, because I took screenshots. Because I couldn't believe, I could believe. Because Steve Harvey has been saying some of the most ignorant shit here lately and still want black people. When he said black people give Trump a chance, like what? Maybe he talking about rich black people, you know, the Jason Whitlocks of America. He said, you know, you from Flint, and he said that's why y'all ain't even got clean water. When was the last time you touched water and it didn't have lead in it?
Wow.
And then before the guy got off the phone, he said, enjoy your nice brown glass of water. All because you were upset at the fact that I guess he was talking shit about your team. And, you know, people, we talk shit. You know, fellas get together, we talk shit. But when you bring up like a serious crisis that's affecting so many people, and it has been for years, and nobody seems to be giving a damn, and you poke fun of it, you make light of the situation, that's nothing to joke about. And so I understand people getting upset at this dude.
Yeah, that's a tasteless joke. Okay, I can see. I mean, it's one thing to talk crap with your boys. Yeah. Y'all do it all the time. But really, about a situation that's killing people,
right?
And not only killing people, that is getting ready to affect children for the rest of their lives.
Rest of their lives.
These kids will never be able to have. They'll never be able to have children. They'll have issues if they do have children. The children can be born with all kind of defects. Are you kidding me? You don't joke with something like that.
Especially on your platform where millions of people are listening, and this town is listening. And it's like they already feel like nobody gives a damn about them. And then here you are making a joke about it.
It's like Kathy Griffin's joke. It's tasteless.
Yes, very.
It's tasteless.
And part of me wants to say I wouldn't expect that coming from him. But, you know, people give him a pass because he's a comedian. Just like you said, Kathy Griffin, you know, she wanted to pass. You know, it was all a joke, even though the joke wasn't funny.
Not at all.
And even though, like, I heard the clip, his co-hosts were like trying to get him to like calm down because you're going too far with this, and you probably don't realize where you're taking this joke. But he was just being Steve. He didn't give a damn, you know. And I don't know if he's just so removed from black culture, the community, or just people just
No,
it seemed it was tasteless and heartless.
I think he was just had it been a one-on-one thing where he made that tasteless, heartless joke with some guy that he knew, then it wouldn't have been taken as far. I think sometimes he forgets that his position, you're actually in the public eye. People are going to rehear this joke, and sometimes you don't think about what you say. Stuff just comes out your mouth.
But if it's a one-on-one thing, if it's a one-on-one thing from a guy that's from Flint, Michigan, who's dealing with this, or his children are dealing with this, and nobody gives a damn, then I don't know if he probably would have still been. It wouldn't have had the blowback that it had, but that guy probably still would have been offended and pissed off.
I'm sure
at that joke.
And that's the thing. I'm sure he's told a joke that's offended somebody and pissed him off before. We just don't know about it. This one we heard. Mm-hmm. I just honestly think some words came out his mouth. And I think he meant them in that moment.
Right.
He regrets them now.
Has he apologized?
I don't know. I doubt it. He may regret them now, but in that moment, I think he meant what he said. It was, and all in his mind, I'm sure these is just jokes. It's not real. But sometimes when you just joke, you hurt people's feelings. So comedians have to remember that they can still hurt feelings just telling a joke. People, that's how bullies are. Bullies think they just joking. They just joking with their friends, but they're really hurting someone else.
Right.
So comedians just have to remember their position. That's all it is to it. And sometimes you just talk out the side of your neck, and that was his moment, I suppose.
And so he deserves all the backlash he's getting.
Yep, he deserves what he gets, just like she deserved what she got.
Kathy Griffin?
Yes,
okay.
And just like Bill Maher deserved what he got.
Right.
So, you make the joke.
You got to own it.
You better be able to follow through. So I heard you had a funny story for me.
I had two, but one you posted on Keep Moving Facebook page about the young girl, or did you tell me about this? The young girl who was in college and got caught stealing, and then they went to her dorm room and they saw that she had been stealing for a little while.
And her response was
a college student in Wyoming was arrested after she tried rolling out of Walmart with a cart containing nearly $2,000 in stolen items. This led investigators to search her dorm, where they found thousands of dollars more in shoplifted music or shoplifted merchandise. But her excuse was that she was doing research for a term paper on kleptomania.
Now, see, when I heard it, I didn't hear all that. What I heard was she stole term papers. So what she had done, the story I had heard, this girl had stole some term papers, and when she got busted, she said she was researching for her term paper on kleptomania. And I thought, oh my God, that's the best excuse in the world. I would have given her an A for the excuse alone. I'd have still kicked her butt out of college, but she got an A. But she would have got an A on that paper.
Well, it's still a problem, the fact that the only class that she was enrolled in was biology. So this term paper that she's writing about kleptomania.
See, I didn't read all of it. I read the beginning and I died. I was like, okay, I am done. That is the best excuse ever.
And the other story was about the Daily Show with Trevor Noah, how they trolled what's his name? 45. Yeah, Donald Trump. And I think they opened up this little shop across the street from Trump Towers that is all of Donald Trump's tweets. And it seems like a legitimate thing. And it's only going to be open, they said, from June 16th through the 18th or something like that.
Or a few days. It was not that long at all.
But just the fact that they were housing
the money. Doing this
to make the joke.
Think about how much money that cost you. They had to rent the building.
Right.
They had to print out all the tweets. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they're not just pieces of paper stuck on the wall. It's framed and all kind of stuff.
They got pictures of or they got caricatures of a lot of the people that Trump made fun of, looking like what he called them, like little hands, or like it. They went all out. And I thought that was fun.
The staff that it took to do that, oh yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I give it up to Trevor Noah. That is beautiful. Oh, well, that is our show today, but we got to leave on a question. So I'm going to leave you with a question. If you were stealing term papers, could you come up with a better excuse than I'm writing a term paper on kleptomania?
I couldn't.
I am an entertainment major. So mine would have been, I'm doing research on an episode we're doing of a talk show about kleptomaniacs.
And so that...
Got to know how they're feeling. I'm trying to get into the mind of a kleptomaniac.
Okay. And you think that...
I don't know if it'll work or not.
Because
but I mean,
most teachers, one of the first things they tell you when it comes to writing a paper is about plagiarism. So I think they would know. It used to amaze me how teachers would find out that you plagiarized something, or you, I guess the internet, because back when I was writing papers, the internet wasn't as popular. We actually had to go to the library and do research.
Well, let me tell my
your plagiarism story.
No, my age.
Microfiche.
Microfilm. I can't even lie. We was microfiche back then. But we used encyclopedias.
I remember that.
If you didn't have them at home, you had to go to the library.
Mm-hmm.
You had to use newspapers.
I remember that, yeah.
But it was almost impossible to plagiarize, to get caught plagiarizing.
Because everything wasn't online.
I mean, they had to figure out where you got it from. And so unless, you pulled it out of the morning newspaper and copied it and your teacher was a newspaper reader, you wouldn't get busted for plagiarism. It was more of a...
I think it's like the way you would write it.
Right.
That would give you away.
It didn't
like
sound
you don't
like
talk like this. You don't talk like this. You don't use these words in class.
But I learned, I knew all of that. Teacher, this don't sound like you, this. So I learned how to take what they said
and put it in
my own words.
Yeah.
And that technically is not plagiarism.
Right.
And I had one teacher ask me, "Oh, you do this so well," and she was a friendly teacher. So I told her what I did, and she said, "Well, that's not plagiarism." She said, "Just make sure you cite your source."
Right, especially when it comes to statistics or you throwing out some figures.
If I'm throwing out figures and wasn't citing the source, how you know that?
Yeah.
When my mama said,
yeah, that takes you back to the two women I know. Remember you went off on me about.
Okay, so again, I'm going to explain these two women. Most people only know a few people. And I don't mean physically a few people, but if you take the world of 4.3 billion people, you know two people. That's about how many you know. That's what it looks like in comparison. You don't know that many. So I did not literally mean you knew two women. I know you know more than two women, but you don't know 2,000 women.
I do know 2,000 women.
Yeah, on Facebook that you ain't never met.
Hey, I know.
You might chit chat.
I know their names. That's all I need.
You ain't sleeping in their bed, and they ain't sleeping in yours. And if I recall, that's what that conversation, it had something to do with people you were sleeping about. So you ain't been sleeping with 2,000 women. If that's the case, we need to have a discussion.
Why you all in my bed right now?
I'm just saying.
You're all in my bedroom business.
I'm just saying, we need to have a discussion if you doing that kind of stuff.
Anyway, that's back in my gigolo days.
Okay, we need to talk. Have you seen a doctor since your gigolo days?
I have.
He give you the all clear.
Yeah.
Did you go back 6 months later and get another one?
Moving on.
I mean,
in the show,
certain things stick around for a long time.
That's what they say.
Some people, AIDS has a tendency
to lay dormant for years.
It can lay dormant for years, over 10 years or more. So
I've heard that.
You've been back since your gigolo days to talk to your doctor?
Most definitely.
Okay, you keep going back.
I wasn't going to the doctor in my gigolo days.
Okay, I know. Now that your gigolo days is over, you make sure you see your doctor once a year.
I do.
And make sure he take the blood and make sure you tell him about your gigolo days so he can test you for those gigolo problems.
My doctor is a woman.
Make sure she can test you for those gigolo problems.
I say, you can test me for anything.
Oh, okay.
That's what I tell her.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I lay it all out there for her.
On that note, I got to end this conversation. I was good up until that point. I don't want to think about you and the things that's going on in the doctor's office. Anyway, with that said, you all have a lovely evening. Thanks for listening and good night.
Peace.